attack on a synagogue yesterday. Awful stuff. Just awful what's going on. West Bloomfield, Michigan. An attacker from Lebanon. He's been identified. Bill Maluzhin has the details here as Ayman Mohammed Ghazali. Lebanese national. First entered the United States in 2011. 2011 on an IR-1 immigrant visa as the spouse of a U.S. citizen. He was then naturalized into becoming a U.S. citizen in 2016 during the Obama administration. We have to fix our legal immigration system. This is a colossal mess. I've been using colossal a lot today. It's true, though. Huge mess. Huge mess. What? Do we keep importing terrorists? Well, they're here illegally. How about they shouldn't be here at all? If you're going to go on to start killing American citizens, what the hell is wrong with our screening process that we keep letting people in and then giving them the privilege of being an American citizen just so they can kill us? DHS saying in a statement to Fox, the tragic attack on Temple Israel Synagogue in West Bloomfield, Michigan was carried out by Ayman Mohammed Ghazali. He was born in Lebanon on January 4th of 1985. He entered the United States May 10th, 2011 at Detroit Metropolitan International Airport on an IR-1 immigrant visa as the spouse of a U.S. citizen after alien relative and fiancé petitions filed in December of 2009, Obama, were approved in April 2010, Obama. He applied for naturalization October 20th, 2015, Obama, and was granted U.S. citizenship on February 5th, 2016, under Obama. Thanks, Obama. That's how the guy gets in. And so he gets into a truck yesterday, drives through the doors of the Temple Israel, and that is where he's met by private security. Now, this synagogue, like a lot of houses of worship now across the country, is on guard in the unlikely event that someone tries to attack the faithful. And yesterday, inside of that synagogue, they had armed security. Truck drives through, and these guys begin opening fire on their attacker. They killed him. In fact, in the process, the car went up in flames, and the corpse was pretty badly burned. It took a couple of hours before we were able to finally get an identification on the guy. But it was armed American patriots, just law-abiding citizens, who defended the people inside of that synagogue and killed this terrorist. Once again, armed American citizens stopped something horrific from becoming even worse. And in fact, one of the good news items, insofar as we can derive good news from this, in addition to just how grateful I am that armed American citizens exercise their Second Amendment rights to protect themselves, is that there are very few injuries involved. There were no deaths to anybody associated with the synagogue. The only person who was deceased in the attack was the terrorist himself. And we do know that there was one injury sustained by an individual, one of the security guards, who was struck by the vehicle as it was plowing in through the building. Authorities say that he went off to the hospital to be treated, and they expect him to be okay. Thank the good Lord. But you saw this attack going down yesterday, and you start getting these headlines, and you do get nervous. You're worried. What's going to happen here? Well, these guys defended themselves, which is just really great to see, and unfortunate that we have to get there. But I don't know what it's like. Chat, tell me, is this true in your church at all? Churches across the country, synagogues across the country, what's happened is basically the faithful have begun arming themselves and protecting the congregation, oftentimes in communication with the rabbi or the pastor, working with them on like, okay, how are we going to secure this space? And a lot of it's going to be veterans. It's going to be off-duty cops, former cops, people who know their way around a weapon, just guys who are ready to stand guard for the people inside of that church. And nowadays, it just seems like Americans are just being we're being reminded of why we have the Second Amendment to begin with. And you just have a lot of good people who are there protecting that sacred space, that church. Yeah, so people in the chat are saying they carry. Mark's Madness carries in church. And Substation Dan says, yes, we're ready. Sefsik says, sadly, we are doing that. We've got an armed sheriff at our church. We have armed security at our church. Yeah, so this is happening all over the place. Oklahoma's all armed. And little Debbie, yes, I carry to church and everywhere else. Yeah, okay. So that's I would say it's encouraging. Again, it's terrible that you got to be there as a country, but it is good news that more American citizens are answering the call here to prevent these kinds of attacks from happening. And the reality here is armed Americans constantly stop mass shootings from occurring. You know, we often talk about mass shootings. The technical definition is usually around 4 or more people struck in gunfire. A lot of mass shootings, in fact, almost all of them, when you actually categorize mass shootings, they're gang shootings. They happen in inner cities. They're happening in Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, D.C. They happen all across our country, Baltimore especially. But what the media don't tell you, and my buddy John Lott has been looking at this for years at the Crime Prevention Research Center, what they don't tell you very often is that lots of would-be mass shootings never get that far because properly armed and trained, often because, you know, gun owners, they train up in order to use these weapons, law-abiding citizens are constantly stopping huge attacks from happening. It's happening all across the country.